Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're joined by basically the next gen, the most exciting heavyweight fighter that we have in the UK. Um, I just want to say that we had previously the most exciting middleweight fighter, and then he became British champion. So we are known for good omens. Fabio Wardley, how the devil are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How's things with you, mate? How's all going?
We're ticking over. It's cold, lockdown, as I suppose you are as
Fucking
well.
freezing cold.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, just living. Are you still this is going to drive you up the absolute wall. Are you still making it to the gym? Are you still able to train, or are you like your gym
Yeah,
closed down and all that?
I'm still able to train all the same. It doesn't really affect
Fantastic.
me. Yeah, I've got a key to the gym as it is, so I just
Mm.
take myself up there when I need to do my sessions, go do whatever. And yeah, to be honest, nothing's really changed for me other than it's freezing.
Yeah,
And like there's just no one else in the gym. Obviously it's just me, but other than that it's all the same. It's all the same moves.
that's proper motivation, though, isn't it? When it's just you. Um, right. So I am an undefeated white collar sensation, and when I say undefeated white collar sensation, I had one
You and
bout.
me both. You and me
Yeah, I had
both.
one bout. But this is what I'm saying. Like, we're nearly the same, except for you're at least a foot taller, well over a decade younger, a little bit better looking. Do you mind just running me through, like, because I started when I was like 25, when you're
Mm,
26 now, and I was an IT guy at the time, and it was just
mm,
like I'm into this. So one of my biggest not regrets, but like I kind of wish that I'd started even in my late teens.
mm-hmm.
Just because it's like any martial art, right? The longer you do it, the more you're into it, the more you learn, and you go through the phases of learning how bad you are before you start to think that I'm actually all right at this.
Yeah,
So the white collar route is I know a lot of people like will poo poo it and stuff like that, but in the white collar route, like my coach and like Streets is one of my coaches. He's one of the best coaches in London. The coach that I see now is like he was IBF European champ. Like the pros, the big boy pros, they're also coaching. So for the white
mm.
collar guys, it's amazing exposure to stuff you'd never get anywhere else. So like, how did you get in and go through the path?
It was all just very a bit of right place, right time, convenience, a
Hmm.
dash of luck in there as well, I guess. Um, I was the same. I just kind of fell into it. Like I played football and stuff for a long time before, and that was kind of my thing. That's what I did. And
Yeah.
then I had some bad ankle injuries, which kind of took me away from football. I just couldn't do it anymore. It just hurt to play. Like
Right.
after a game or whatever, I'd just be done in. Like I just didn't have it in me. So I was like, and I wasn't at an extremely high level where I was getting paid or anything like that. So I was just running my body into the ground for no reason. So I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop. Like I've had enough. I've reached the end with that. But I'd always been into like going to the gym, always been into training. Never directly boxing, but I always enjoyed just pushing myself in whatever way.
Yeah.
So I called still my current coach and the coach of the gym at the time, because I knew him from when I was a bit younger. I was a naughty kid when I was younger and rebellious and whatever.
Hmm.
I was getting in this bit of trouble and that bit of trouble, and I was part of like some kind of like, it's called Positive Futures, but basically it was like a naughty kids program,
Oh, yeah.
to help out kind of youths that are getting in trouble, going the wrong way, doing the wrong things, blah blah blah. And the program would take the kids and we'd go do stuff like play football and just keep us in a better environment, basically.
Structure.
So I knew my current boxing coach, and he was like a mentor at that program. So I knew him from then, and he always talked about boxing when I was younger and stuff. So I knew he was in it. But I was never really that interested when I was younger. It didn't really bother me. I was doing other things. And then when I got a bit older, I just called him and said, look, it was just on a whim. I was like, I just fancy a bit of boxing. I like challenging myself. I like the kind of one-on-one side of it, and just pushing myself. So I just called him, and he said, yeah, of course, mate, come down. You're welcome down to the gym whenever you want. Just give us a shout and come down. And I always say that it seems like I just turned up one day and then I just never left. And then that was it. Like I was in. It was in. Like I went to one session and that was it. I was there every session. You couldn't get rid of me, and like I loved it, like every day, just more and more, because like, don't get me wrong, when I first walked in, I was diabolical. I was awful. I couldn't do anything. But like, even being that bad, I still loved it. And then even like a week later, I got a little bit better. Not much. I was like, everyone was still punching me around the ring, and I still couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. But I was a little bit better. And I just enjoyed that kind of like increment of getting a bit better, and challenging myself, and just seeing it as there was just so much. For me, I just always thought there was just so much to discover in boxing. Like, so many different things to it, watching videos and things like that. I loved kind of throwing myself into it.
Yeah,
And then
it's like an infinite art, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it doesn't matter. Like, everyone's different. You could have two people that have exactly the same skill set, and they approach it, they deal with it, they do anything differently. It's like music.
Yeah. And it becomes, and like I say, they say, boxing is an art form, and to me it is as well, because there's so many little small details to it, so many little small things that, unless you're paying attention, you really don't notice. Like, there's so much that, like, high level, elite level boxing in if you watch a fight, there's so many little cues and little movements and things that just go completely missed, but they're things that need to be worked on hours and hours in the gym. And no one, like someone like the casual fan, unless you really care for boxing, you don't even notice them. But like, once you get them down and you know them, they just become part of your kind of natural body rhythm. And I just loved it. I loved all of that side to it. So that's kind of where it all started. And the gym I was at just happened to be a white collar gym. It was just the type of gym it was, and that's what they did. And they put shows on, like, at the time when everything was normal. They put shows on every 3-4 months, something like that.
Decent.
And the show was coming up, and they were like, look, if you feel like getting involved, if you want to give it a try kind of thing. And I thought, yeah, like, I've been doing it maybe 2 or 3 months now, and I thought, you know what, like, I'll just jump in and give it a go. Like, that's the best way to test myself. I love sparring anyway, so I might as well do it properly, kind of thing. And then that was kind of like the second kind of pin drop moment for me, of like, when I had my first fight, I won. I stood there, like, all my friends and family were there cheering, screaming, everyone was shouting. My hand got raised, and I was just, there was like my hand got raised, and then there was just like this little quiet moment of like, yeah, now this is it. Like, there's nothing else. I haven't found nothing else, and there's nothing else coming to this. And then from then on, it was just throw myself into it and see what happens.
Love that. And to be fair, it sounds like, you found your path, because, it just sounds like this is who you are, right? Despite, like, the skills as you learn on the way up. Like, if you're into it, was you into boxing at all? Did you watch it, or?
Not really. My earliest boxing memory of really actually paying attention to it was Hatton and Mayweather.
Oh yeah.
That's my earliest like memory of me really taking the time to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
But that's it. And I think at that time I was maybe 15 or something like that.
Yeah, that was maybe 09?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's about 09. Yeah.
Mate, legit made for it. I remember the commentators were talking about your story and the way you moved and everything. I'm like, they must have this fucking mixed up.
Yeah.
Like, this kid must have boxed since he was a kid. Beautiful movement, bro. For a heavy as well, man. Like, fucking respect.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No,
yeah,
man.
Absolutely.
Shit.
It's a lovely mix of like fast hands, good movement. Like, it's flashy in a fundamental way, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
like,
I get what you mean.
Yeah, them inside slips and shit.
Exactly. Like, it looks good, but it's completely sound, completely solid. You're always in balance. It's, obviously got good power. There's only one geezer who's actually made it to the the first guy.
The first one, wasn't it?
Yeah. So first bout, was that just like, this is a completely different game to what I've had before? Did you what did you do between white collar and pro? Was you just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for this?
So yeah, so I did white collar, and then basically when it got offered to me to go pro, and that was the decision, like, me, my coach, and the people around me made, like, we're gonna do this. We did have that conversation, that realization, like, shit, like we're starting this leg, like we're behind. Like if there's a track, if there's like a way of measuring here, we are like at the bottom near on. Like we need to find a way to kind of catch up. And the only thing we could really come up with, and the best thing we could think of, was just sparring, was just getting around. So for a lot of years, in my first kind of 2 or 3 years in boxing, I was just known as the guy that would go anywhere whenever you needed, kind of thing. You could call me and you need me to be in Manchester tomorrow, I'll do it. Like I'll find a way to get there, because I realized that whereas a lot of these guys would, a lot of the other guys before me or whatever else, they've done their time of honing the kind of core of their skills and figuring themselves out as fighters and blah, blah, blah. I needed to do that now, and I needed to do it kind of double quick. And the only way to really do that for me was in sparring sessions, and was through the grit and pain of it, of figuring out what worked and didn't work. So it's all good trying stuff in the gym and thinking that works, and then I get in the ring with someone who's a real genuine heavyweight. Like at the time I was sparring a lot with like Sam Sexton, Derek Chisora, kind of those big bully guys.
Sure.
And I'm
Del
thinking,
Boy must be a fun time.
Some of this stuff is working well on the pads, and I get in there and then they're overhand righting me and punching me in the face across the ring, and I'm going, nah, that one doesn't work. We need to get rid of that one. So it was just a lot of that, really. It was just a lot of learning, of realizing, like, you know what, I just need to get out there, get on the road, just do whatever, you need to, this is what I say to people when they ask me kind of like if they want to do it, how to do it, blah, blah, blah. I just say, throw yourself into it. You need to give yourself to it. Everything else needs to go. If you are serious and it's what you want to do, then you need to give yourself to it. You need to just say, this is it. Like I'm getting involved, I'm getting stuck in, and I need to go here and I need to go there. I was at the point I was doing anything. I was working a job and things like that. And I was trying to get like, I'd beg with like some of the other people in my job to like swap shifts with me, or I'll do a double shift for you if you just do mine, because I need to go sparring in the morning. And I worked like, I was working in a gym as well for another part of my job. I worked on reception in a gym, and there'd be days where I was like the greeter at the gym. So people would come in, they'd say hello, see my face, I'd say be polite, whatever else. But there'd be days that they'd come in and I'd have like a battered and bruised face because I got black eyes from like sparring the day before and stuff. So I probably wasn't the best kind of face of the gym, but like I was just doing everything I could, really. That was it.
Yeah, but you're so tall that you could just literally lie to them and say, "Oh, I was doing like dunking practice, and like, I kept rattling off the rim, and you know these things happen."
I just kept missing.
Yeah, exactly. So, how did you get all hooked up with Del Boy? Was it just that they needed someone in size wise, or?
Yeah, it was just kind of word of mouth, really. Like it was like a progression, really. I kind of moved up the sparring ranks, I guess. Like, I started with, like I say, like Sam Sexton when he was going, because as well, I'm from Ipswich and he's from Norwich. It's only an hour up the road. It was an easy drive, and they were always more than welcome to have me up there whenever I needed. So I was up there loads. And then it moved from there, and then I think maybe like social media pictures got around, seeing me here, there, and everywhere. So then Derek's team got in contact. It was at the time it was Don Charles, and we spent a lot of time with them. And then at the same time, that's when things were like with Dylan and stuff. In terms of first time me ever meeting him was happening at similar times, because I was sparring him as well. And like there was some weeks where I was sparring like, and it's not the best advice to be honest to do, but I was sparring like 4 or 5 times a week, and I was literally flicking back. Like one day I was with Derek, the next I was with Dylan, the next I was back with Derek, and I was just so like, I was like, I need to get every ounce of this that I can, just wherever. And don't get me wrong, if anyone's watching this, don't do that. It's not advisable. but at the time, it was just what I felt like I needed to do to kind of get out there and get in the mix. So yeah, I was just running around here, there, and everywhere. But it just progressed from time. And I think like I said, I built a bit of that reputation that I would always, not in a rude way, like I'm trying to take the piss, but in the sparrings, I'd always put it on the line as well. I'd always get stuck in. You're never going to get a light or easy spar from me unless you ask for it in particular. But I'm not the type to, because I always felt like, again, with having that white collar background, I always felt like I had something to prove.
Yeah.
because that was always, Fabio Wardley just turned over, used to be white collar. That's kind of how that conversation always went. And I have no problem with that. I don't mind it. But I always knew that always raised some eyebrows whenever you hear that last bit. So I always knew that I needed to prove that I was worth my salt and worth just sharing the ring with you.
Yeah, I mean that's a kind of like a weird asterisk that in the first fight in Fight Camp, that was like the thing that was like, you know, Fabio white collar. It was like that was, I mean, is it starting to ease out a little bit now? Because it kind of has to be, right?
Yeah, it's easing off a touch.
Yeah.
Because obviously for a while you don't know what you're going to get from me with the fights that I'm having and things like that, or that I had at them points anyways. You still, although I was winning and knocking people out and doing all right, there was still, but white collar, when he steps up a level, how's he going to do? How's he going to work? How's he going to go further into the rounds and blah, blah, blah. So there was always just that kind of, whenever my name was mentioned, just that raised eyebrow of, but there was just always that. It was always, he's doing well, but maybe not kind of thing. So that's why I always felt like I had something to prove. And going back to like the Fight Camp fight, that's why I thought that fight was perfect for me.
Yeah.
Because Simon was such a well-schooled ABA amateur, kind of GB squad, podium squad. He was obviously up there in Sheffield and doing all of that. But he was highly touted from that ABA side. So to pit me, the white-collar guy, against him, the ABA guy, I think that was the bit where people were like, okay. Like, he can actually box here.
I mean, they were incredibly complimentary. You know, they were saying like you know, despite it wasn't despite, that's the wrong word. They were saying basically, you know, white collar, but then they was also saying like Usyk and Dillian. So there must be something, and it was very complimentary, as well as
because it'll like totally flip at first.
Yeah.
Like you said, until people know what they're going to get, people always want to hate for some reason. But then it becomes almost a selling point where it's like, holy shit, this guy from here is doing this now. And, completely, it's such a unique point. Like we were saying, like when Denzel was telling us how he got into boxing, it was just like, his brother got some gloves and they just knock about. And that was a great story. I'm like, man, when we speak to you, this is like one of the best stories. It's great. It's good to see the progression, man. Amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, what was was it just literally like, I've had my hands raised in the white collar realm and you're like, I can do this. And then that's it. And to be fair, you are 10-0. And some silverware.
Like,
go on.
So so how it all like came about was a bit of a weird one and a funny moment.
Yeah.
To be honest. I had my second or third white collar fight. Because I only ever had 4, so it was one of them two. And so I had the fight, and the show was on like a Saturday night. And then I beat this guy who was like, I think he was like 10-0 in the white collar circuit. So then it got a bit of attention kind of in the white collar world. But I didn't really think that much of it. It was, to me at that point, it was quite an easy fight. And I like got him out in the first round and I was happy with my performance and stuff, but I didn't see it as that big a deal. So then that was on the Saturday night. So then the Sunday, I'm at home chilling, like I'm working a normal job. I was working in an office at that time. So I was it was like maybe 9 at night, something like that. I was getting my stuff ready for the work week and just going about my business. And the guy who owns the gym that I train at and the guy who like organizes all the white collar shows for our gym as well, Matt, he called me and said, look, I've had someone on the phone. They've called me about you and they're interested in turning you over and making you a pro. And I was like, shut up, mate. Like, it's late. I've got stuff to do. Can you stop pulling my leg? Like, I'm trying to crack on with stuff. I've got work tomorrow. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, no, like, I'm serious. I've given you your number. They're going to call you in about half an hour. Like, make sure you answer kind of thing. And I was like, I still like, and this is the thing with like me, my coach, Matt and everyone, we do all day, every day is take the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
So
but that's dark though, isn't it?
I was like, no, I'm not having this, whatever. And then they called and I speak to them in the first like few minutes of the conversation. I was still like really skeptical. I was like, I didn't know who, like, I'd never heard of them. I didn't know who they were, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, and that was kind of how it all came about, was just that it was a bit of on a random one really. And we spoke about it as a team and stuff, and we knew, like, we weren't naive. We knew that it was too soon, but
Yeah.
we thought, like, my thing was, at least if because the thing I said to myself was, I could do it now, and maybe it goes wrong, but I could live with that as opposed to not doing it. And then I don't know for certain that in maybe 2 or 3 years, when I definitely am ready, that someone's going to be there with a pro contract to say, yeah, cool, come on, get on board. Like, I don't know. And I would kick myself a lot more, say, in 20, 30 years time, if I said no to the opportunity and I never got to do it, as opposed to if I did it and maybe it just didn't go right. But I could live with that. That's fine. But the other way around, I wouldn't have been able to stomach that. And that was how I made the decision. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to put my all in and let things land where they land.
What was the time difference between final white collar and first pro?
It was about 1.5 years. So
okay,
because I had a lot of issues with that first management team, and by the end of it, I never actually had a fight under them, because I had my debut like scheduled and cancelled at least a minimum of like 6 times.
Oh, cheers.
So like I'd train, I'd get there. There was times where I'd be there on the day. I'd be at the event, and for whatever reason it was cancelled.
I'll behave.
Or the day before, the opponent hasn't turned up, or just this and that and every other problem. Like, and all these times as well. Like, I'm from Ipswich again, and all my shows, all the shows I fought on were not in Ipswich. They're in London at that time.
Yeah.
They're at York Hall. So I would take busloads of people to London, to York Hall, and like, and then on the day before, whatever, it would get cancelled. So like, that first 1.5 years was a real kind of like, it built so much resilience in me that I'm like, as much as it was shit at the time and I hated it, that it built so, like, I've got calluses from it now, that in the fact that like I can take, and so like, even when, like, prime example was when like COVID first happened and stuff and my fight was cancelled, I was cool. Like, I've done it 1,000 times. I know the routine now. I know that, okay, you take it what it is. It's cancelled. You just keep moving. You stay in the gym. You don't go home. You don't slack off. You don't chill. You stay in the gym. You stay ready. You stay ticking over. And I knew that from that 1.5 years of just kind of grinding through that, doing that numerous times. And then it got to the point where it happened so many times, and I was like, look, we need to get rid of these guys. And I didn't know nothing about boxing. I didn't know nothing about the pro game. Me and my team didn't know how it works. We just thought, like, we were just kind of running with it. So eventually we got rid of them. And then we moved on to a different management team, and I finally got my debut done, and I think I had 4, maybe 5 fights under that one.
Nice.
And then kind of I got deja vu, and it kind of started happening again, where shows were getting cancelled and fights were getting cancelled and blah 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 and stuff. And so it started happening again. So I was like, okay, I've seen this show before. I know how this goes. Like, I cut that one. I cut that one pretty early, and then that's kind of the just before period of when me and Dill got together.
Nice. When you've had those delays, are you very much so like of the mindset of no problem, it gives me another 3 months to get better, no problem, it's another 6 months, and by the time we actually have this bout, you know, you're not going to be having that asterisk on me at all, and I'm going to bash the granny at you?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's how I viewed it. I viewed it as almost, like, when I look back at it, at least, I'm actually quite thankful for it, because I know at that point I wasn't really that ready to jump into the pro game, and like, all them delays gave me an extra 1.5 years, because for that whole 1.5 years I was training 24/7. Because as soon as the fight got cancelled, I didn't slack off. I stayed in the gym anyway. And then a few weeks, maybe a month later, another show would be announced 2 or 3 months down the line. So I'd jump straight back into full camp. So for that whole 1.5 years, I was just in camp, training, working on stuff. I was sparring here, there, and everywhere. So it was like I did a camp that was 1.5 years long, just in the gym, just grafting. And it helped me grow and learn and just get so much better that I'm almost, when I look back on it, quite thankful for it, because it's helped me kind of make up some of that ground that I was saying in the beginning I was lacking behind.
Yeah. Plus, obviously, the people that you've been in with and training with, that's no joke. I mean, it's like a list of killers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it really is.
Yeah. And I found that out in the ring. Don't worry.
Yeah. Like we did an episode with the Undefeated boys on Friday, and they were like, if you're gonna be around a fighter who at any moment you think is gonna go off, he said Del Boy, didn't he? And we are just like, well, you never know. You never know. He was just like, you never know.
Oh,
And
you don't know with him. He's the nicest guy, or he doesn't want to speak to you. I don't know which one it is. I don't know how it works. You just kind of have to tiptoe around it until you can kind of figure out what day he's having.
Yeah. I gotta ask, what was it like with Usyk?
Yeah, that was another like surreal, weird, just another one of those moments where I was just like fuck it, throw yourself in, kind of see what happens. Because I got so how it started is I just got a random Facebook message off a Ukrainian like named guy. Obviously, I had no friends in mutual with or anything like that. Just a random, and it went into like my private inbox as well because I wasn't friends with him. I didn't know him, and it was a bit broken English as well. It was like, "Hi, Sir Fabio, do you come Ukraine spar with Alex 6 weeks or like 2 weeks in 7-day time?" Something like that. It was quite like short, broken Englishy, and I was like, "This is like." Again, this is some bollocks. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Did you immediately think that the next message? Yeah. Was you like, the next message is 100% asking me to send my card details?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I got the Matt from my gym again, the guy that runs my gym. He I got him to kind of. I just played with it a bit because I didn't want to completely shun it, even if it was maybe a joke or take the piss. But I gave it to him and said, look, can you take this, kind of manage it, and just dig a bit, kind of figure out some like stuff and find out if this is genuine or not. And a week or so went by, and it turned out to be genuine. And they wanted me there, and blah blah blah. So I just went. About a week later, we booked it, and I'd never gone away on a sparring camp, or I'd never done an extended sparring camp before then either. When I was sparring with everyone else, I'd go up for the day, spar, drive home. I'd never gone and stayed anywhere for like a week or two or whatever else. But this was the first time I'd ever done that. First time I'd ever left the country for it. First time ever going to Ukraine. I don't know the process, the rules. I don't know anything.
For sure.
So I get on the plane on my own. So I go there on my own as well because I don't know if you take people with you. If you don't, I don't know what it is. I just thought they asked for me, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So I went. I get to the other end. There's like a guy with who doesn't speak any English. He just has a sign that has my name on it, and I like walked up to him. I was like, "That's me." He was like, "Okay, like come with me," and
that's some Rocky IV shit, man.
Yeah,
it was. It really was. Like, and we go.
Where you go? They go.
Yeah, literally. It was like that. Like, so we leave the airport. We go to this van. It's not like a car or anything, because I'm thinking Super Series, Alexander Usyk, like. They might even pick me up in a limo or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you'd think like a Merc or something, right?
Yeah,
something. You think something, but it wasn't. It was one of those like. It was like a dodgy van that someone would get snatched in. Like someone would like. You'd see like speed up on the side of the road, doors open, someone would run out, grab someone, and snatch them back. And that's like it only had windows in the front seats and that. There was no windows in the back. Like it was like one of the. And I was just like, I played it all cool and that, like it was normal, but I like put my stuff in there, I got in the back, and I was just like, I had a moment there where I was just like, I could go missing here.
Yeah.
Like this.
Were you sitting there thinking, I'm gonna have to go Liam Neeson? I've got a special set of skills.
I was like, this could go very left. Like, this geezer doesn't speak a lick of English.
No.
And I'm just in the van, in the back, in the middle of Ukraine. Don't know where I'm going, what's going on, like whatever else. But Yeah, so that was, and then we got to the hotel. The hotel was like a international hotel, so everyone there spoke English and blah blah blah. And then it all was very just normal from then on, really.
Right. So get in the back of the transit. Yeah. Wrap yourself in the blanket so you're not padded when I go over the bumps. Yeah. You'll go. You'll enjoy.
So, yeah. But then and then I got there on maybe a Tuesday. Sparring was on the Wednesday, so the same driver came and got me again the next day when I checked in after my room and that, and just took me to the complex where Music trains, and met him, the team and stuff. And I just kind of went about like normal. It was a lot more normal from then. And that's and Usyk and his team, that his whole team are absolutely lovely. Like, it was just that initial kind of being in that moment that was a bit like, what is going on here? But then once I'd settled in after the first, we had a sparring session and thing. After the session, we all went for dinner together and stuff, and it was really nice. And like, he was just good guy, accommodating. Him and his whole team were, and yeah, it was great. It was a great experience.
Did you learn a lot?
Yeah, I used to. I think they might have got sick of me a bit, to be honest, because like I'd spar and then I'd just sit there and watch, and they might have thought I was just a weirdo or like a spy or something. But like,
I'm here. Where else am I gonna go? You know?
No, because that's the thing. They did come up to me like with spar, and then they were like, the driver will. Do you want this driver to come and get you? Like, if you want to leave, you can go. It's fine. You don't have to stay. And I was like, no, I'm fine. Like, I just want to sit and watch and observe and see kind of his process, how he does stuff. So I'd always just sit there for like another hour and a half afterwards, just watching his routines and the things he goes through and what he does. And I'd, without trying to get in the way too much, I'd try and quiz them a bit on like why he's doing certain things. And like, you probably seen a lot of his different bits of training, like the numbers on the wall and things like that, and the little kind of Jenga brick things that are numbered and stuff that he plays with. And because again, I was very new, so I wanted to learn the process, and not just that, but then why does that work, and why do you do it, and why do you do it before and not after, and blah 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 blah. And I just wanted to kind of figure things out and take things into my own head, and then be able to kind of use them if I need to in my own camps or whatever else, because there was nothing else for me to do. All I would do would go back to the hotel anyway and just sit in my room and like watch TV. So I'd rather just sit here and learn as opposed to everything else. And they were nice. And that was a lot of the times where we got to just be kind of more just normal and laugh and joke with everyone and just kind of mess about, and it was good fun.
I mean,
what a camp to be involved in
exactly.
too. Like, the stuff they do is so its own field. It must have been fascinating to see.
Yeah, it really was. And to watch it kind of almost live and see how it works and stuff was great.
Yeah, I mean that system, the old Soviet system that is now the Ukraine and the Russian and stuff like that. Like it has always been a very unique system that's well ahead of that was well ahead of the Western system. Like if you're there with one of the pound for pound best fighters on the planet, like an illustrious amateur, like I would be doing the same. I'd be sitting there just like, I probably wouldn't have even bothered with the sparring because I'm a bit small. I would have just been like, "What am I being paid to just watch for a little while?" Yeah, sit.
Yeah, lovely. Good.
Yeah. Cheers.
Just having tinnies with the van driver.
Yeah. You know that I'm drunk on Jesus. So me and Sergey maybe would have had a couple of sugar-free Monster energy drinks. I'm trying to shut down, isn't it? So English champ now. What's the like? What is your ideal plan? Because I know I've spoken to you for 20 minutes, whatever. I know that you've got a layout because you're too switched on to be like, I'm going to fight anyone, anytime, anywhere.
There's a bit of that, and then there's a plan behind it as well.
Yeah.
It's like, again, I think I've done my kind of my introductory level kind of fights and my build-ins and my kind of announcement-y fights and things like that. Now I'm onto the bigger fights, the bigger tests, the bigger challenges with bigger names, things like that. That's the kind of direction we're moving in now. So just picking them higher level opponents, them kind of almost fringe level opponents.
Yeah.
Someone who's good, someone who's not going to go after a round or two, someone who's well schooled, knows the way around the ring and has been in the game a long time. There's the kind of opponents we'll be going for it this year. In there somewhere, I want to fight for the British title. European, something like that. I want that next kind of bit of silverware, that next one to tick off the list. So that'll be mixed in there somewhere, maybe late summer, something like that, depending on kind of how other things move in the division and what other boys are doing around me and stuff. But that's the plan really, is get out in a few months, get a decent win, a decent name, a decent opponent under my belt, a nice challenge, someone who's going to pose me some different questions than I've already had, and then move towards either another good fight or, like I say, something like the British European level titles to go for.
Is there anyone that you fancy it with? Is there anyone that you're just like, I would love to fight them?
Well, for a long time, for a while now, it's been Lucas Brown that I've really wanted to like fill him in. I've just been like, especially after like, because we were scheduled to fight and then he pulled out, and I was just like, and that winds me up more than anything. Yeah. So, and it was all from like bullshit excuses as well, and like it was only like a week or two before the fight, so that really like got to me.
That's liberty, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was just like, I definitely want to smash your face in, but we were trying to get that sorted again for this year, but he's doing his same old thing, so probably not. But yeah, I don't mind, because I'm not one to, I don't gun for anyone really, unless you give me a reason to. I'm not aiming for anyone. I'm aiming for like belts and titles and accolades and things to go with it. If you happen to hold on to it, or you've got the belt or whatever else, then cool. I'll happily meet you for it. But I'm not hunting anyone individually. I'm not that type of person to be calling people out and calling big names and just running my mouth for no reason. I've never been like that. Like, if you want to go at me and you want to do that, I'll happily do that with you. But I'm not the type to just kind of pick a name out of a hat and just go, I'm going for you, I want to knock you, blah, blah, blah. Like,
you're not going to Logan Paul it.
Yeah, no, I'm nothing like them silly YouTube guys. Nothing like them.
How do you feel about that as someone that, they were mugging off like Ryan Garcia recently about not having like the Olympic background, and that was the big narrative between him and Campbell. It was the Olympian versus the social media star. Like, how do you feel? Because again, you've come in. I can't imagine like Streets. Do you know of any other like white collar background that like you're smashing it? Let's be honest.
Not like you've done it. No way.
No.
I know a couple of collar guys that have turned over, but have not. I mean, nothing like this.
No. I mean, how do you feel about the YouTube boys? Is it literally just like, look, get your money, who cares? You're not affecting us.
I think it's fine in the right doses. I don't mind it if well, I prefer it if they did it the way they did before, when it was sanctioned all properly. It's like done under. I hate it. Like, don't turn up with bigger gloves and a head guard and then still talk the same talk, because I don't want to hear it. That's bollocks. But if it's all sanctioned, you've got your licenses, you've done it the right way, you're fighting in proper gloves, you've trained properly, as long as they're not, because I understand, and in boxing or in fight sports since forever, there's always been like the talkers, the loudmouths, the ones that run it up. And I understand that's part of the game. That's not a problem. I have no issue with that. But as long as you're doing that and you're also taking the sport seriously, then I don't have too much of an issue with it. Because, again, it is beneficial for the sport as a whole, because it does bring new eyes in. Like, I like the way that Eddie and Matchroom did it, where they mixed in real boxing in with some YouTubers, so that whoever's there to watch them will see the real boxers, and it may draw a few different eyes and some more fans to the sport, and just build the sport as a whole, which I have no issue with. But the only problem I have is if when they're doing it and they're doing it kind of half-assed, taking the piss, not training properly, just not in as a whole respecting the sport, and then still running around talking the most about all the boxers that actually do. That's where I have my issue.
Yeah. But then, that's easily resolved, isn't it, by letting actual boxers, if you're a 2-0 and Jake Paul claims to be 2-0, all right. If we're both
that's
pros.
What we were saying. The problem is, like, don't be talking this shit about you're a pro now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm all for it. Like we've discussed this before. If they have their own league or something like that, where if you want to put gloves on, but that's not boxing, and the fact now you're calling yourself a professional, and people who don't know the difference watch it and think, oh, this is like, it's
Yeah.
good that it brings eyes, but it can also like, because listen, if they keep doing this, calling out actual fighters, one of them's going to get badly hurt soon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that is the thing. That is the thing.
So
It's just about representing the sport in the right way. That's my issue. That's the only thing. As long as you're doing it the right way, as long as you're not making a mockery, then I can take it for what it is. It has its benefits.
You know, I like the concept of what they did with the Billy Joe, the one that Billy Joe was like. The problem is that you're having like one of the most legitimate world champions out there as the chief
Haney was on that card as well.
Haney was on the card, yeah. Like that's fine because you have that step back where you're like, I understand that I'm going to get 15 million 14-year-olds that have never seen boxing before because all they want to do is see some geezer called KSI and Logan fight. Great. I'm going to get more eyes on me than I've ever had before. But I don't think they care. That's the problem. I think it's a double-edged sword. So if you'd have had Billy Joe as the main event, they would have all fucked off after Logan and KSI and vice versa. They're not really. It's a tough one. So it almost either needs to be separate as its own thing, or you kind of have to throw these YouTubers in properly if they want to do it. And obviously not fighting an ex-NBA player who clearly had done 3 boxer size classes total. It was funny though, wasn't it?
Exactly.
It was funny. It was a good knockout. Anywho, how did you feel about Dubois and Joyce? Are you like an avid fan now? Do you watch everything just to see who's around and what they're doing and what they're about?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whenever there's boxing on, 9 times out of 10, I'm watching it. The only ones I don't really do to watch are the shows when like they're in America and stuff. I watch them like the next day because like the one I stayed up for Loma Lopez and it absolutely spun me sideways. Like I didn't go to bed till about 6:30 and I was like, what is going on? Like, So yeah, I'll usually watch those on replay, but I always watch them back. But with I was surprised because for that fight, I was in camp with Joyce. I was one of his sparring partners. I was there every week with him, helping him get ready and stuff. And in the build-up and stuff, I was always saying it's very close. It's like this. It is a 50-50 to me. And but people were trying to force me into answers and stuff. And if I had to inch it anyway, I did actually inch it to Daniel. I did just kind of nudge it to him a touch, but I just felt like his work was a bit crisper and cleaner and sharper off. But there's just no price for experience. And I'll be honest, there was no one could ever have known how solid Joe's chin was. Like
I was just about to say this, right?
There's no way to quantify how much of a granite chin that man has.
Yeah, because that was the thing, wasn't it? It was like, look, Joe does get hit, and you know he's like a metronome. He starts in second gear and he carries all the way through speed wise. Like there doesn't seem to be that much change in what he does when I've seen him fight. And there was just like, Daniel is a big puncher and he does have variety. And it did look like it was just a case that he could wear those shots. Like Geezer's a freak. Like he's wearing a crash helmet.
Smiled at a couple of them.
Oh, mate.
Something different. Like I've taken punches from Daniel, I've taken punches from Joe, and neither of them like hit soft. Let's not get it confused.
No.
But some of those to take were just like different level.
Yeah, they were the ones that you see normally. The knee goes, and then people start doing the funny dance. Did you think
it was so coherent in the interview as well?
He was,
it's like they didn't do.
Yeah, the man's built for it, ain't he, the boy? Biggest head I've ever seen on a human being. It's a proper Swede on that geezer. Did you think it was a bit strong about like the initial backlash about Dubois, like he bailing out or?
Yeah, I thought it was unfair.
Yeah,
I thought it was quite unfair, and like I said in other interviews and stuff as well, that I can empathise with him because I've had that same injury. Like I've fractured my eye socket as well. I did it in a sparring session, and I know how it feels. And to be fair, I was fortunate in the sense that I didn't get any swelling whatsoever. Like from looking at it, it looked fine, but it was more internal. That things were fractured and broken. So I was alright in that sense, but I know firsthand that pain, and I know the fear of like the panic that goes through you when it's your eye. Like I said before, like I've fought on shows and I've fought in fights where I had a bust wrist, I had like a fractured wrist, I still fought. I had a fractured finger, I still fought. I had a broken rib in one fight and I still fought. Like things like that you can do. You can get through, you can power through them. It's not nice, it's not ideal for your body and whatever else, but you can do, because regardless of what goes on, it's going to heal and you're going to be all right. But things like your eyes, I was like, that's where I kind of draw the line. I'm like, if my eye goes and I can't see, like that's, I'm out. Like I'm not playing that game. And I've done it, and I did it in the sparring session. And I know the fear of like, for like weeks and weeks after, like the eye I did was just like gone really. Like for a couple of days, I couldn't see really out of that eye, and then I could, and like, but I could only see like blurry, and then I couldn't look up or down because it hurt and things, and there was just different pains and stuff. And I was thinking like, will it ever heal, or will I have a dodgy eye forever? And then if you do, and your eye's dodgy, then that messes with your career, not just on a comfort level, but the board won't let you fight if your eye's dodgy. They won't like, even me, I did mine and they put me through so many like extra tests and stuff, even though it's perfectly fine now. They want to make sure that everything was perfectly fine. So you may even feel in yourself after that you're good to fight, but the board would be like, no, we're not taking that risk on you, kind of thing. So I felt like, again, he's so young, he's got so much time, he can just go again. Like I laid it out as, would you have rather seen us get, I don't know when did he, I think he stopped in the 9th, 10th maybe,
it was about
whatever it was, something like that. I compared it, I said like, I put maybe a tweet or something, and I just said, look, would you rather see 3 rounds of Daniel or another maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 in the rest of his career? So you get 3 rounds from him today, you get what you want, he puts it all on the line, and then somewhere in that he completely fucks his eye and he can never box again. Or take the knee, go home, rest, recover, and you get the rest of his career. He's like early 20s. You got another 10 years out of him at minimum, really. Like
he's a heavyweight as well, maybe a little bit more. And
that's
also,
what I mean.
let's be honest, no one really wants to have someone that has that like Jeff Bezos wonk eye. You know what I mean? Like that one that he looks at how to avoid tax liabilities. But that's all good. Or the Margarito, because Margarito had that one bonk eye, didn't he, after Pacquiao bust his head?
Yeah.
You don't
Bisping?
Bisping, yeah. Bisping's only got one eye. He takes that shit out.
Yeah. Fucked up, man.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Frazier fought half his career with one eye. Joe Frazier, you remember in the when he fought Ali the 3rd time, and he couldn't see, the good one was swollen, he couldn't see out of the other, and he was basically blind. Fucking hell.
Wild times.
Yeah, man.
So when are we going to see you next out?
Not too long. Sometime in March.
Yeah,
sometime in March is when we're looking at. So we've got about probably 8 weeks or so, something like that. Nice. It's a nice bit of time. So yeah, not too long. Go for March. Try and just keep them quick. Really, it's difficult, isn't it? Because with everything going on, don't know whether you're coming or going. You can plan 10 shows for the year, but you don't know if they're all coming off or when they're going to be or whatever else. So we just kind of take it fight by fight and get where we need to get to, tick it off, and then once that's done, take a week, and then we look at what's next, and then we'll go from there. But the next one right now is March. Nice.
What's the is there? I mean, when you're dealing with Matchroom, is it literally, or is it Dillian's, the deals crew? Are they just like, this is where we want you to go, this is what we want, and have they road mapped out your year, or is it a case of that when you're ready, you're like, give me some more? Or
no, it's a mutual thing. Like I could, if I wanted to, like, don't get me wrong, it wouldn't do me any good. I could say I want the year off. No one's forcing me to or telling me I have to do anything. I don't have any obligations in that sense, but obviously I'm keen and I want to, and they know that, and they like that about me. That I'm easy to work with in the sense that there's no name they've put forward to me yet where I've said no. Like they can just send me a name and I say, yeah, cool, no worries. Just tell me when, tell me where, and we'll get it going, kind of thing. So that works quite well. That we're comfortable in that sense. They do all kind of the chats of Eddie and the discussions and negotiations and bits and bobs. I do my job. I stay in the gym. I stay training, stay ready, and they give me a call whenever and say, look, this is the guy and this is when. And they put it to me as well. They say the same thing. They say, is there anyone you're looking at? Is there anyone you want? Is there any names you think would be good? Like, we can put it to them, blah, blah, blah. So it's a mutual thing. We come together on it, but for the most part, I just let them do it because I'm relaxed. I'm not fast.
Beautiful. Have you looked back yet and watched your last bout? And when I say your last bout, we'll get into that in a minute. But Larty's intro, because no Larty, no party was massive.
I never want to endure that again.
Oh my God. I'm not going to lie. Up until the stoppage that you bestowed upon him, you gifted him. It was the highlight of my night. It was amazing. I was just like, is this actually like, is this real life?
I hated it. Because the thing is as well, he was obviously doing his walk. But while he's there, I'm at the bottom of the ramp. I'm at the bit where you see him pop up through. I'm stood there now, and I'm having to watch and go through the whole thing. And I'm like trying to bounce on my toes, stay warm, stay ready, stay warm. And I'm thinking, and it's one of those things that you're watching happen. You're going, okay, I'll be over in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, surely now. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Like there was a bit where he was like right in front of the ropes, and I was like, just get in, just climb over, get in. Like, what is going on?
See, that explains so much as to how you dealt with him now, because he gave you the right pop. Get in the fucking ring.
Yeah, literally.
Amazing. Did you how did you feel about there was like a little something afterwards which was just bananas? Like me and Street spoke about it on the podcast. There was a little something that said that he took a dive. Now my rule is when you see a limb collapse behind someone, they've not taken a dive, right? Did you hear that madness?
Yeah, of course. It was on like all of the reposts from like Sky and from my page, and when I put it and stuff, and like it. Like,
you're not fast. It's not something you're really that concerned with.
Like, what's it matter? Okay, cool. Then what? You said it's a dive. Now what? What's going to happen? They're going to take it off my record? No. Am I still getting paid? Yes. Like, so what's the problem? I don't say what you want. I'm not fussed. Like, I was there. I know what was going on. I don't need to spend my evening now trying to convince the world that it was genuine. I couldn't care less. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You saw what you thought you saw. That's not like, I don't take offense to that stuff.
I love that. That's probably one of the healthiest ways to deal with that, because it like
we were more pissed off on your behalf. We were
I was like, are you not off your are you not off your fucking nut? The geezer's just received a firm 2-piece and he's gone down like a sack of shit. That wasn't part of the plan for him. Do you think he wanted to end the night that way, you lunatics?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was just like that is the classic armchair fighter, isn't it? The armchair coach. Like, well, if you fancy it,
he should have jabbed.
Yeah.
Go up to Ipswich and take a couple and tell me how it goes.
Yeah, literally. That's what a lot of, like, that's the other thing. That's the other side to it, is that like other people on like Twitter and social media are then like, they're on the other side. They're like, how about you take 2 punches and see where you end up?
Exactly. You can't just keep like. I'm astonished with that. Like, I will talk a lot of shit, but it's always in jest and it's always just for a bit of a laugh, right? Yeah. And it's never like, it's never disrespectful to the person, right? It'll be about the situation. I'll have a laugh, whatever. I am astonished with some of the stuff that comes out, like with mates of mine that are pros, that you just see on their feed and you're like, are you insane? If you catch these people in the wrong mood and they find like there was that geezer a few years ago,
it's always some fucking idiot, no profile picture, locked account.
Always them. Them people that just make them accounts just to cause that type of bullshit. Like, I don't mind it. Like, you can do what you want to do. Like, if regardless you're talking about me, either way, you're adding to me. Like, so I'm not fussed. Like, I don't mind it at all.
Nice. Then you get them fucking Charlie Zelenoff guys that actually remember when he called out Deontay. And Deontay beat the
Wilder, wasn't he? He got into it with Wilder.
And Floyd Senior. The Mayweather camp, like, because there's 2 videos. There's one where it kind of cuts early, but they just got in and they've kind of stomped him out, rightfully so. Like, he's a prick, but they gave him a good. He won't be. Well, I'd say he won't be doing that again, but he did do it again. So.
Yeah, what does he claim to be, like a 270-0 or something?
Yeah,
something like that. I've just seen you wear 2 beatings on YouTube. What are you talking about, the O's? How do you feel about Deontay? You don't have to give me any sound bites, and you know, we always prefix this with like anything you don't like. can be cut out afterwards. But like
I'm not fussed.
a,
But no,
a
I'm like
fellow heavyweight, you know what I mean? Like we all saw what happened.
the
What do you think?
only bit I have a problem with is take your loss like a man. Just take it on the chin.
Yep.
That's the only thing. And the thing is as well is with him in particular, he's gone out of his way so many times to say so much like brutal things. Like I know there was a big point where he said he wanted to catch a body in the ring. He wanted to end someone in the ring and blah blah blah. You can't say that and then cry that you got beat and that say, oh well, he did this damage to me that shouldn't be allowed and blah blah blah. And then you're like, hang on, which one is it then? Like, what are we doing here? Which way are we going with this? Like, that's the bit that annoys me the most. I have no problem with even you can take your loss, and even if you want to give it back a bit, all right, cool. But don't make up 101 excuses and it was this and it was that. Like, oh, my costume weighed me down but then they found a video of him saying, "Oh, I always do all my training in a 20 kg weight vest."
No, we've had the video. Yeah,
what are we doing here? Like,
he's doing it all.
On?
Yeah, he's doing pads in the 20. He's doing dips. He's doing pull-ups. He's doing he's running in it. It's like, mate, come on. Deals is all about that life, isn't he? He really is. He still want Deontay?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah, he does. He does still want him, but at the same time, he's not trying to like now. Don't call my name and you want to do it on your terms with me now that everything's gone out the window for you. Like I've been after you for years, so we will do this and it will happen, but it's going to happen on my terms now because I'm in charge of the situation, not you. So that's his view on it, and that's how he feels about it. But it will happen sooner or later.
Love that. I don't actually have very much else because you've fucking laid it out for us.
Yeah,
Streets, you got anything, mate?
So
You
much,
nailed it. You. It's like you're a media professional, my friend.
I don't know about that. This is when people say this to me as well. They always say like, "Oh, you're good on good in front of the cameras and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
Because I had a job in sales for years. I just said I've honed the art craft of talking shit. Like I've just figured it out. I did it for about 5 years on the phones, just going, yeah. Do you want to buy this? Da, da, da. So I've got it down.
Amen. Doing the Lord's work, smashed it. Best of luck in March. We will be watching and we will be celebrating, and we'll get you back after.
Yeah, give me a shout.
Man. Wicked. Thank you so much, man. Have a good one.
Have a great night.
Cheers.
Take care, brother. Thank you. Bye.
Later.